The most recent backlash that Doris by Suicide Silence has received has definitely been a hot topic over the past week. This is a video for a brand new song that has more dislikes than likes, and it's actually quite a large margin. Sure, it's not quite the margin of the Ghostbusters trailer from 2016 or Justin Bieber's Baby or Rebecca Black, but it's still significant within the heavy metal marketplace to see such a savage, real negative side to this as opposed to positive, whereas usually things remain hovered toward neutral, or at least more so on the positive end. This has also been something that has caused a lot of different talk, and it's also caused a lot of different insult coming directly from the band. Their drummer, of course, most famously a couple of days ago, was taking to social media in order to blast a lot of fans that was giving the Doris sound a real negative critique. And it's one that actually gained enough momentum and was happening frequently enough that it actually sparked its own news story. It's something that showed the band in a lot of a negative light, especially based around the fact that this was a band that just a couple of years ago was whistling high praise by a lot of folks, not only within the heavy metal market, but also the deathcore market. This is something where the band deciding to change up their core sound just a little bit, almost like a Whitechapel or a Bring Me the Horizon or Asking Alexandria, whatever it may be, has actually brought negative attention as opposed to with some of the other groups where the result has been a little bit more lukewarm to downright praiseworthy. It seems that with deathcore, this is a style of music where you have to stay primarily within your wheelhouse in order to truly have that continual success, but even still, the deathcore marketplace seems to have really slowed down whenever it comes to here in 2017, as opposed to a couple of years ago. Now, far be it from me to assume that the deathcore trend was going to last forever. Nothing does. It's something where all of these different movements do have their times in the sun before eventually fading into just being another of the subgenres of heavy metal music. Something that is used as an adjective in order to describe a band or a song's sound, as opposed to really being a full-fledged movement that is dominating the world. At the turn of the 2010s, this was definitely the reverse as being true, where deathcore and its bands were certainly getting a lot of traction within the market. Suicide Silence was one of the groups that was getting a lot of attention, especially because of their dynamic frontman Mitch Lucker. Whitechapel is another band that was at the forefront of this, that was getting significant praise, that also experienced the negativity bug in 2016 with their most recent album. And this is something that seems to be a little bit more continual. The term, or the real feeling toward deathcore seems to have changed up a little bit. While there are still a lot of core fans that still have a ton of respect for these groups and a lot of love for these groups, and there are still a lot of bands that want to really be like these groups, it seems like the overall tone has faded a little bit. Is deathcore now a faded trend? Is it now something that's kind of like the old bicycle? You still know how to ride it, but it just doesn't ride as well. Is it now something that heavy metal needs a brand new Schwinn or a brand new Huffy? They need something brand new to sort of gush about? And is that, black gaze, or is it gent? This is something where I think it is kind of true. I think deathcore has reached the end of its popularity cycle, at least for its initial wave. As we've seen with other styles of heavy metal music, this doesn't mean that the genre, or the subgenre in this case, dies. It's instead one where it sort of lingers in the background and works on its next wave. And if the next wave is able to really move people the same way that the first did, it's able to really conjure up a bit of a revitalization. The first wave certainly seems to have drawn a lot of attention, not to mention has had a large influence on the heavy metal market, with deathcore now being something that is influenced whenever it comes to other bands that are up and coming. It's an adjective that is now being applied sometimes to progressive metal, sometimes to thrash with thrashcore, and sometimes it's just used as a standalone descriptor for bands that hybridize a little bit. And while adjectives are a little bit overused, it is something that does show that there's still some prominence within the deathcore marketplace. But is this the end? Is it now something else's turn in order to really have that real turn in the sun? Has deathcore lost its luster? Has its value started to diminish based around the plethora of poorer albums, either that or changeovers in sound, with these bands aiming to sort of expand their horizons and abandon being just purely a deathcore band? Let me know in the comments below what you think about this, but if you want my honest opinion, I think the time in the sun is over. I think deathcore is now fading into the sunset. Let me know.